So Jim, how you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Good, good. Say hi to Richard.
Hello. How are you?
So he hasn't seen fit to come visit us, so we're going to have to take it live to him.
There you go.
So what's going on here?
Well, today I'm finishing up. I'm getting to put the quarter on side 2. Rocker arm. The rocker box is all installed, welded in. Rear quarters in position, starting to be welded. Then I'll move around to the tailpiece, and once that's done, then we're ready to scoot forward. I made a cut here. You'll see that there's rust up in there, and I don't know what it's going to be like until I get into it.
So that's between the...
It's between that rear valence and the actual trunk floor, the outside of the trunk floor.
You've already got the trunk floor repaired.
Trunk floor is already repaired.
Yep.
Now this side here, driver's side, is all installed, welded, ground, primed, ready for the body shop. You can see your wheel wells are very nice. And the first thing that people do, of course, is they grab the inner wheel arch to see if it's a nice car. And of course, this one is nice in there. So, and then inside, we got new outer rockers. I already rebuilt the inner rockers, if you remember. This section's all been modified. Since this is an early car, this piece has to be cut across like that, and this piece added this and this. So also we had to do a little bit of adjusting to get your door gap. And I'm going to show you something you don't see very often on 1800s is they're going to have Allen follow that door gap, and that you will find that that's a pretty darn good gap right there. That's fairly unusual, as well as following the body here. These doors usually hang out a little bit, and this one actually is pretty smooth. So I think you'll appreciate that. You'll have one that stands out a little bit from the crowd when you go somewhere. How come your door's bit? You're like, oh, I don't know, you know.
Must be that Irish guy in Portland, Maine.
Right. Yeah. So that's pretty much where I'm at right now. Hoping to get the back done and move up front, get things straightened out there. Got your bumper wired up right now, but Al might have to, I don't know if you've got light on the camera enough, but there's your frame rail. That's so bad. And this goes from the front all the way to here, and this is your cross member. That's where it bolts up. So we're going to have to I'll pretty much rebuild it like the factory did. The sway bar mounts on that. So it's your bumper mounts on it. It's a fairly important piece, but I will wait. I'll wait until I've got the front sheet metal stripped off, so that it's a lot easier to get to, and I can make it square and make it right. So that's pretty much where you're at right now. I rebuilt your back window area. I took a piece out of your parts car and put this piece in, which is a pretty darn nice piece. So I dug about 1/4 inch of Bondo out of this area here where they had they basically had covered it trying to get the contour right. I welded it and hammered it so that the shape of the metal is actually what it should be. Our body guy's fussy, and he definitely wouldn't let me forget sending him a bad job. So next step is this rear valve right here.
Tell me about this white stuff inside these inner fenders.
Well, Al, the white stuff is it's an epoxy mastic primer. It's very, very adhesive. Excellent for corrosion protection. It won't sweat up like undercoat will sweat up underneath it. This is a permanent bond to the metal itself. It's very, very tough stuff. It's for the most part it's spray glue.
Yeah.
That's paint.
So what did you find originally on these?
It's just the shipping. It's this stuff here, which is
Were the ones that were on the car?
the ones that were on the car. They had been blasted with undercoating. And
On the outside, what was inside?
the inside was basically what was there was undercoated. However, once you pass the wheel wells, it was bare metal.
Whoa, that's pretty sketchy.
Yeah, so as you can see from earlier pictures, Mr. Kirby, that when I had this car apart, I painted every piece that you can't get to ever, so that you'll have that protection there. Now, what Al's looking at right now, the gray primer is it's a self-etching primer that I use, and it does exactly that. It chemically etches into the metal, will help start killing corrosion, and will continue to fight the corrosion. So that's a good step to start with. I also noticed that your wheel wells haven't been seam sealed, and they should be. That's just a pinch weld. There's nothing to keep stuff from coming up into that. So I will, with your permission, seam seal all this trunk area before it gets buttoned up. That'll be after the metal work.
Well, it looks real good inside here, Jim. Looks like a new car in the trunk.
Yeah, it's pretty much all new metal from the ground up.
Yeah, so the next area you're gonna tackle is this rear valance.
Right here.
Because at this point you've got both rear quarters.
Yep.
One's done and on. The other one looks like you're welding today.
Yep.
And then that's gonna set up the parameters for you to pull this.
That cuts right here. This is the line. You can see it here. That cuts right across here. Okay, so if you cut this out first, you'd lose your height and you'd lose your distance. Once these quarters are welded, they won't sink or tip in. So
Okay.
that's the next step to the game. And this edge is really thin and ratty, and it's got some holes. And also, if Al can get inside of there, this thing's been hammered pretty good a couple of times, which is fairly typical for these cars.
Yeah, these rear quarters are always the worst panel on the car. These cars are low, hard to be seen by cars behind, so the rear panel is, even on nice cars, the rear panel is always messed up. We're real fortunate to have a new old stock panel that we can put on, so this one isn't going to end up full of Bond out.
Yep.
All right, well, good. Well, thanks, Jim. That's
Nice hanging out with you for a minute.
Yeah.
Get back to it.
Love to see you here, but you know we're on the clock here. We don't want to waste your resources. Bye, Richard.